Right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Friday, August 13th, 2021, Friday the 13th, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a very, very busy day. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered today for 2 hours also. So some of you all saw that. If you missed that, visit Roland Martin on Facebook or YouTube, and you can watch the entire show. So we had a good show today. And on today's show, what I'll do is on Sunday's show, since we're on for 2 hours on Sunday, I'll play some of the, we'll share some of some excerpts from Roland Martin Unfiltered. We had a infectious disease expert, an infectious disease doctor, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, I think was her name, African-American female. And she was talking about COVID-19 and the surge of COVID-19 and the Delta variant. So very, very informative segment. Dispels a whole lot of myths, a whole lot of nonsense that you see on social media. So I'm going to ask her some very important questions as well. So we'll share that segment on our Sunday show. All right, on today's show, there is I saw an article from ebony.com, and then also one from deadline.com. Many people are familiar with the book Blood Brothers, Blood Brothers, about the relationship between the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, and Malcolm X. And the book Blood Brothers came out a few years ago. It's about Randy Roberts and Johnny Smith. And the book came out in, I think it was 2016. Well, there's a new documentary that is going to be on Netflix, premieres September 9th on Netflix, called Blood Brothers, and is from Kenya Barris. And Kenya Barris is the creator of Blackish on ABC, Blackish with Tracy Ellis Ross and Anthony Anderson. And this new documentary explores the relationship, the friendship between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, and how it came to an abrupt end as well. We're going to talk some about the documentary today, and we'll talk some about Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, two of my heroes. You see the pictures behind me of Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. But also, we'll talk a little bit about attorney Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump is back in the news. There was a press release that he released on Thursday, August 12th. You know, earlier in the week, we talked about the story of the African-American realtor, Eric Brown, who was showing a home to an African-American father and his 15-year-old son in Wyoming, Michigan. And a neighbor called the police on the three the three individuals. They thought that someone who was arrested back on July 24th for breaking into the home, they thought that person returned, and these two men and the teenage boy were arrested temporarily, then released. We know that story went viral. We talked about it here. It was also on CNN. Well, on Thursday, August 12th, attorney Benjamin Crump released a press release saying that he is representing real estate agent Eric Brown, as well as the prospective buyer of the home. We'll talk about that a little bit, give you an update on that story. I'm going to play the interview that Don Lemon did with Eric Brown and the customer, Roy Thorne. And this incident took place on August 1st, 2021. All right. And I'm going to share with you the press release from Ben Crump's law firm also. Very interesting development there. So we'll discuss that. And then on yesterday's show, we talked about how the state of Georgia, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is going to purge 185,000 voters from the voter rolls in Georgia. And Joanne Reed on the readout talked about that. And I meant to share with you an excerpt. There's a commercial that's airing, bringing awareness to the For the People Act and encouraging people to call on President Biden to end the filibuster, even though President Biden can't end the filibuster. He can put pressure on the Senate. He can put pressure on Senator Joe Manchin, Senator Kristen Sinema, and Joe Manchin has shifted his stance on Joe Manchin has shifted because he's called for the passing of the For the People Act. He just did that Wednesday when they tried to take a vote on the For the People Act. He called for the passing of it in the Senate before they went on recess. And then also, as we talked about on yesterday's show, Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Raphael Warnock are working on a revised voting rights bill to get that passed when the Senate comes back from recess on September 13th. Okay, so I think this is it, July 28th. There was one. I think this may be it. Democrats craft revised voting rights bill seeking to keep hopes alive in the Senate. There's one article dealing with that from the Washington Post. There's another one from the Post also. I have to pull up the second one from the Post that if this is not the main one that I want. I think this is it here. Democrats craft revised voting rights bill seeking to keep hopes alive in the Senate. This is from July 28th, 2021. Okay, so you have this taking place also. Now, in the commercial, there is a excerpt of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about the filibuster. And I'm going to play an excerpt of that actual video, okay? And he's talking about how the filibuster is used to block civil rights bills and how it's used by the minority to a minority of misguided senators should no longer be able to weaponize the filibuster against voting rights for Black and brown Americans. He's talking about how the filibuster was being used against African Americans. Okay, and I meant to play that clip on yesterday's show, but we ran out of time, so we'll do that today. And then also I'll give you a brief preview of the 10-week online course that I teach on Saturdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. This is a 10-week online course that I teach, and we deal with history from the end of the Civil War through the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power Movement. So we'll talk a little bit about that class also. All right, I'll give you a preview of information we cover in that class. And you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you can register for that 10-week online course there, and we'll post a link here also. All right, now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct your own behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you control the compass of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and history and politics education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, to sign up for our email newsletter there as well. All right, and you can register for my online courses at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I teach one on Saturday, one on Sunday. The one on Sunday is Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That's a 10-week online course also. Okay, I want to go to this first story here before the break. I just sent you the information also, Ed. Let's go to this first story here dealing with the documentary about Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Okay. The name of this documentary is Blood Brothers. I saw an article from ebony.com because the movie, there was a screening of it at the Martha's Vineyard African American Festival. Okay. Earlier this week, that was on Monday, August 9th. Okay. There was a screening of the film there. And it's based on the book that came out in 2016 called Blood Brothers, that deals with the relationship, the friendship between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, and how it came to an abrupt end as well. Deadline.com has an article on this also. If we flip over here, let's look at the article from Deadline.com. A documentary about the relationship between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali from Kenya Barris of Blackish fame. Kenya Barris and his Calabo Inc. Society has been set at Netflix. So it's going to premiere September 9th, okay, on Netflix. And I'm going to renew my Netflix subscription because there ain't really nothing on Netflix that I want to see, but I'll renew it for this. Blood Brothers, Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Blood Brothers, Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali will launch on Netflix on September 9th. Now, it's based on the book by Randy Roberts and Johnny Smith called Blood Brothers, The Fatal Friendship Between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Blood Brothers, The Fatal Friendship Between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Okay, that's the name of the book that it is based upon. Now, so the documentary comes from Kenya Barris, and Kenya Barris has since moved to Viacom CBS after he had a deal with Netflix, but he has since moved to Viacom CBS in the deal that gives him equity in BET Studios, because we know BET, so I guess still think Bob Johnson owns BET. He does not. He sold that some years ago to Viacom. Viacom owns BET, MTV, and VH1, by the way. Now, it is Kenya Barris' latest documentary for Netflix. He is also producing a documentary on civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who we're going to talk about in a few minutes here. So we see a connection here between Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Benjamin Crump, and Dr. King. We're going to do it with all four of them in today's show. So the documentary, which Kenya Barris teased in his profile in 2020, features never before seen archival footage and the story behind the friendship between the civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the civil rights leader, Malcolm X, human rights leader, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali. Marcus A. Clark, who has helmed episodes of Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries, Unsolved Mysteries and Rapture directs the documentary. So he's the director. Kenya Barris is the producer of this documentary. Now, Marcus A. Clark talking about Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali are two of the most iconic and revered African Americans of the 20th century. And let me scroll this back up, of the 20th century. And yet the depths of their friendship and the influence they had on each other is largely unknown. Blood Brothers provides a deeper understanding into what made these two men tick. What made these two men tick? Blood Brothers provides a deeper understanding into what made these two men tick, the intense role faith played in their bond, and ultimately how their budding friendship came to an abrupt end. So, you know, this is something that this is a documentary I'm looking forward to. Most of the documentaries on Malcolm X I have seen, including my favorite, which is Make It Plain. I think Make It Plain is probably the best documentary so far that I've seen on Malcolm X. I know there's one coming out that his daughters are doing, so that may even be better. It'd be from a different perspective, but Make It Plain has Dr. John Henrik Clark in the documentary, because Dr. Clark and Malcolm X were good friends also. We're going to pick this up on the other side of the break. We'll talk some more about this documentary that premieres September 9th. We'll talk some about Dr. King, and we'll talk about the secret friendship between Dr. King and Muhammad Ali that a lot of people don't know about. I'm going to let you, I'm going to play an excerpt of a press conference that they held in March of 1967. And then we'll also talk about Benjamin Crump, representing the African-American realtor who was arrested in Wyoming, Michigan, just selling while black. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Friday, August 13th, 2021, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. All right, I want to let you know that 910 AM Superstation has the Godfather's advertising package right now. It is the greatest advertising deal ever with their Godfather package. You get 200 spots for $500 with a must air within 30-day policy. A must air within 30-day policy. That is only $2.50 per spot. And they will even produce the spots for free. That's right. They will produce the spots for free. Call Renisha Williams right now at 313-434-8291. That's 313-434-8291. Call Renisha Williams and let her know that Michael Imhotep told you to call. All right. I want to go back to this story here we were talking about before the break. This deals with the new documentary coming from producer Kenya Barris, who's the creator of Blackish on ABC with Tracy Ellis Ross and Anthony Anderson. And this documentary deals with the relationship between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Okay, it's based upon the book called Blood Brothers, and Blood Brothers came out in 2016. And the name of this documentary is Blood Brothers: The Fatal Friendship Between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Blood Brothers: The Fatal Friendship Between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Now, there was an article from Ebony. There's an article from ebony.com, Ebony Magazine, also dealing with this. This movie premiered on Monday, August 9th, at the Martha Vineyard's African American Festival. Okay. The Martha Vineyard's African American Festival. So check out this article also from Ebony.com. Blood Brothers Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X debuts at the Martha's Vineyard African American Festival. This article is from August 12, 2021. And this documentary premieres September 9th on Netflix. Okay, so I'll be looking forward to that, and we'll talk about that on this show also once it's released and I'll watch it. All right, now there's a back in 2016 there was a article about Blood Brothers, about the book Blood Brothers, from this was from NBC News. Okay, let's see if we can pull this up here. This is from NBC News. Blood Brothers: The Fatal Friendship Between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. And I'm going to pull this up. This is another article you can read. I read articles about this book when it came out. I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, but I did read articles about the book when it came out. Now, one of the criticisms of the movie Malcolm X is that it did not deal with the relationship between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Okay, that was not depicted in the movie Malcolm X. And I know the movie was long. It was like 3 hours, 3 hours, something like that. I mean, when they show it on, when they show the movie on BET, Her, it's like 15 hours because they have so many commercials on BET, Her. But that was one of the criticisms of the movie Malcolm X, that the relationship between Malcolm and Muhammad Ali was not depicted, which is very important, as really big historical significance. Let me try to pull this one up here from NBC. Okay, so here's another article to read. Now, this one came out in 2016, and this article was about the book. Came out May 19th, 2016, which most people know is Malcolm X's birthday. Blood Brothers: The Fatal Friendship Between Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. The history surrounding Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X's complex bond. And this is the actual cover of the book. Let's pull this up here. This is the actual cover of the book. It's about Randy Roberts and Johnny Smith. All right. So in the beginning of the article, it says, in Blood Brothers, Randy Roberts and Johnny Smith lift the curtain on the provocative history surrounding Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X's complex bond. Deeply examined and enthrallingly written, the authors explore how both legacies' involvement in the realms of race, politics, and religion have coalesced to transform the world since the raging 1960s. Published by Basic Books, the narrative is titled Blood Brothers: The Fatal Friendship Between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Then they have an excerpt from the book also. All right, so read this article as well. An excerpt from the book talks about the first time that Cassius Clay, then Cassius Clay, met Malcolm X. And remember when Cassius Clay was training for his fight with Sonny Liston, February 25th, 1964, he invited Malcolm X to bring his family to his training camp, to Muhammad Ali's training camp, okay? And Malcolm told Betty it's going to be like a vacation, okay? Or like a honeymoon, something like that. So Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, said, my first impression of Malcolm X was, how could a black man talk about the government and white people and act so bold and not be shot at? How could he say these things Only God must be protecting him, Clay said later. Malcolm was unlike anyone he had ever met. Quote, he was fearless. That really attracted me, end quote. Malcolm had magnetized Cassius Clay, drawing him toward the inner circle of the Nation of Islam. He had no idea the effect he had on the young boxer that day in Detroit, but he would soon see him again. Okay. So check this article out here, and let's connect back to lost our connection to the radio station. Just a second here. Skype dropped the call. Let's connect back. All right. Okay, so read this article here. Blood Brothers, the fatal friendship between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. All right, we lost connection. I'm back. Okay. All right, so read this article here from NBC News. Blood Brothers, the fatal friendship between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. This is from NBC.com. All right, now, there was also a relationship between Dr. King and Muhammad Ali. There's also a relationship between Dr. King and Muhammad Ali. Well, we know Dr. King and Malcolm X met once. That was March 26, 1964. When Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, fight Sonny Liston, February 1964, is going to be the next month that Malcolm X officially separates from the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X officially separates from the Nation of Islam March 8th, 1964. Okay, March 8th, 1964. It's going to be later in that month that Malcolm X meets Dr. King for the first and only time. That was March 26, 1964, at the U.S. Senate debate for the Civil Rights Act, okay, of 1964. Malcolm goes there, and then March 29, 1964, Malcolm delivers the speech, the ballot, or the bullet in Washington Heights, New York. That's March 29, 1964. He's going to deliver the speech again April 3rd, 1964, in Cleveland, Ohio, and he's going to deliver it again April 4th, 1964, in Detroit, Michigan, at King Solomon Baptist Church. Okay, so he delivers the ballot of the bullet March 29th, 1964. Okay, 3 days after he meets Dr. King. He delivers it April 3rd and then April 4th, 1964. There was a secret friendship between Dr. King and Muhammad Ali. In March of 1967, Malcolm is already assassinated. Malcolm's assassinated February 21st, 1965. In March of 67, Dr. King and Muhammad Ali have a press conference. They have a meeting, then they have a press conference, a brief press conference about the meeting. Okay, we're gonna go to clip. We're gonna go to clip one, Ed, and they talk about their opposition to Vietnam. Now, it's going to be we're going to go to clip number one from YouTube. Heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali got together with civil rights. Okay, hold on. Stop the clip. Hold on. Just pause the clip. Just start from the beginning. Just pause the clip. I'll introduce it. This is the month before they officially come out in opposition to the Vietnam War. Now, it's going to be April 4th. Now, this clip is late March 1967. It's going to be April 4th, 1967, that Dr. King delivers his speech Beyond Vietnam, where he officially comes out in opposition to the Vietnam War and gives a speech about it. It's going to be late in April 67 that Muhammad Ali is going to be, he's going to refuse to be drafted into the army. He refuses to take the step forward and be drafted in the army, as we see dramatized in the movie The Greatest, where Muhammad Ali plays himself. Okay, so in March of 1967, these are probably the two most recognizable African-American men in the country, Dr. King and Muhammad Ali. All right, let's go to this clip. Okay, take it off mute.
What did you discuss back in the hotel room? Nothing, just friends, just like Khrushchev and Kennedy and everybody. When the people, all of the politicians of all other white races come together, and they, although they believe different, they think different, whites can come together and discuss the common cause. But whenever a few of us come together, the world is shook up. And I would say, whatever went back there is our business. Reverend King, you agree?
Oh, yes, yes. We had a very good discussion on many matters. And, of course, these are not things that we would discuss here. But we do have common problems and common concerns. And above all, as Muhammad Ali has just said, we are all victims of the same system of oppression. And even though we may have different religious beliefs, this does not at all bring about a difference in terms of our concerns.
Still brother.
You share the same, one more question. Do you share the same concern that Muhammad has for his draft status?
Oh, I certainly do. My views on the draft are very clear. I'm against it. And I think the sooner our country does away with the draft, the better it will be for everybody. I'm very disturbed about the militaristic posture of our nation. And I think until we have a radical reordering of priorities in our country, we're going more and more to the depths, and I should say to the doom that follows arrogance of power, as Senator Fulbright said.
Okay. All right. So that is from March 1967. That is Dr. King and Muhammad Ali at a press conference talking about the meeting that they had. And there's a point in there where Dr. King talks about the differences that they had. And Muhammad Ali says, but we're still brothers. Muhammad, minister in the Nation of Islam. Dr. King is a Black Baptist minister. And there's a sermon that Dr. King gives when Muhammad Ali refuses to be drafted. And it's on YouTube. There's an excerpt of it on YouTube where Dr. King says you have to admire Muhammad Ali's courage. You may disagree with some of his religious beliefs, things like this, but you have to admire his courage, okay, not to be drafted. So here you have a press conference with probably the two most well-known African-American men in the country at the time in 1967. And then that's March 1967 that they give this press conference. Then the next month, April of 1967, they both officially come out in opposition to the Vietnam War. And this gives a huge boost to the anti-war movement and the anti-war activists and African Americans and white college students and things like this who are protesting against the war. And also, Dr. King becomes the most hated man in America overnight. He becomes the most hated man in America when he comes out in opposition to the Vietnam War. Okay, so that press conference, that was from March 30th, 1967. Okay, March 30th, 1967. That's on YouTube. Heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali got together with civil rights leader Martin Luther King. That's courtesy Associated Press. All right, now there's an article from biography.com that I've talked about before on this show. Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali's surprising secret friendship. This is from biography.com. Very good article by Aaron Blakemore from originally January 14th, 2019, updated January 29th, 2021. Martin Luther King Jr. and Muhammad Ali's surprising secret friendship. And here you have Muhammad Ali and Dr. King, and Muhammad Ali saying that we're still brothers, even though we have differences. And this goes back, reminds me of Malcolm X in July of 1963, the month before the March on Washington, when Malcolm X sends a letter to the leading civil rights leaders, the big six civil rights leaders, including Dr. King, requesting a meeting with all of them, including Dr. King, and Malcolm was calling for a unification of the civil rights leaders and their followers, while Malcolm was still in the Nation of Islam. This is July 1963, and Malcolm said we have to find a common solution to a common problem posed by a common enemy. Here you have Muhammad Ali in the interview we just played. Muhammad Ali is talking about Kennedy meeting with Nikita Khrushchev, leader of the USSR. And if we go back to 63, Malcolm X said that if Kennedy and Khrushchev could put aside their major differences and have a meeting, then African-American leaders, Negro leaders, should be able to put aside their minor differences and come together and have a meeting. And he said we have to find a common solution to a common problem posed by a common enemy. There was an article by, I think this was Deneen L. Brown, for the Washington Post. And this one here is Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X Martin Luther King Jr. met Malcolm X just once. The photo still haunts us with what was lost. The photo still haunts us with what was lost. We're going to go to clip 2 in just a second here. Dr. King, we'll go to clip 2 in just a second here. If you read this article from the Washington Post, and I deal with this in a lot of my lectures dealing with Dr. King and Malcolm X and things like this. We'll talk about some of this in the 10-week online course that I teach also, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. When Malcolm meets Dr. King meets Malcolm X. Malcolm tells Dr. King, I'm throwing myself into the heart of the civil rights struggle. I'm throwing myself into the heart of the civil rights struggle. This is March 26, 1964. This is at the U.S. Senate debate for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Malcolm has already officially left the Nation of Islam. He officially separated from the Nation of Islam March 8, 1964, after having been silenced for President Kennedy after Kennedy was assassinated in November 1963. See, a lot of people the crucial period of time of Malcolm's life is when he leaves the Nation of Islam. And March 26th, now this is before Malcolm goes on his Hajj to Mecca. That's late April and May 64. He goes on his Hajj to Mecca. Then June 28th, 1964, Malcolm delivers his speech that people call the by enemies necessary speech, but he's announcing the formation of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, and he's laying out the platform of the Organization of Afro-American Unity. Okay, that's June 28th, 1964. He lays out the political platform, economic platform. He talks about voting. He talks about registering people to vote as independents as well. He's talking about not voting for a party, but voting for policies. And he says we need to register we need to register Black people in Harlem, register them as independents. That's in the speech. Okay, when I hear people talk about Malcolm, a lot of times they don't talk about that. This is why we got to study Malcolm also, not just when he's in the Nation of Islam, but also after he leaves the Nation of Islam. So Malcolm joins the civil rights movement. He goes down to Mississippi, and he goes to Alabama because Dr. King's in jail in Alabama. He goes to Alabama in 65, early 65. He goes to speak to SNCC also, okay? And he Fannie Lou Hamer invites him to come speak to SNCC. He goes to speak to SNCC. When you when Malcolm leads the Nation of Islam, and as a matter of fact, if you actually read the speech, Ballad of the Bullet, especially the one from March 29th, 1964, Malcolm is talking about injecting black nationalism into the civil rights movement. That's one of the major themes of the speech. I hear people talk about the speech. I find it interesting they don't mention that. When you actually read the speech, like, for instance, you can read these, what are my books on Malcolm? We've got, February 1965, the final speeches, Malcolm X. These are the final speeches Malcolm X gave. So we have this book here, Malcolm X, the final speeches. It's like the last 3 weeks of his life. This is Dr. King's first book, but Dr. King wrote 5 books. This is his first book, Stride Toward Freedom. It's about the history of the Montgomery bus boycott. This is his first book, came out in 1958. That's when he got stabbed by a Zola Ware Curry, the crazed black woman that stabbed him in the chest with a letter opener, and he almost died. That was in 1958. He was doing a book signing of this book, his first book, when he got stabbed. Then, so you got that one, this one here about Malcolm's speeches. And then we have the other one, Malcolm X Speaks. And it's around here somewhere. I have to find this. It's a really good book that has a lot of Malcolm speeches in it from 64 and 65. So, and it has the Ballad of the Bullet. Now, the version of the Ballad of the Bullet that it has in there is from April 3rd, 64 in Cleveland, Ohio. And let me see. What is that? This one right here. Malcolm X Speaks. Edited with prefatory notes by George Brightman. All right. There are excerpts of the Ballad of the Bullet online also that you can watch. In the speech from March 29th, 1964, and it's on YouTube, Malcolm uses the term African American because, contrary to popular belief, Jesse Jackson did not create the term African American. I don't know why people think that. That's historically inaccurate. We were using the term African American in 1960 in the 1960s. Not only did Malcolm use it in the speech, when you actually read the text of the speech, like in this book here, he's using the term African American in the speech. Why people think Jesse Jackson created that in 88 or 89? No, he reintroduced the term because the term African American, the first recorded usage, goes back to May 15, 1782 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's either New York Times or Washington Post has articles dealing with that. But I want to go to this clip here. This is Dr. King talking about the filibuster and how the filibuster has been used against African Americans and the civil rights movement. Let's go to clip 2. This is Dr. King on the filibuster. Take it off mute.
If the president's program were incorporated, or such portions of it that would lend themselves to this, how would you feel about submitting this to a vote of the people of the United States who have never really had an opportunity to express themselves in this area?
Well, this will certainly be all right with me because I think the vast majority of people in the United States would vote favorably for such a bill. I think the tragedy is that we have a Congress with a Senate that has a minority of misguided senators who will use the filibuster to keep the majority of people from even voting. They won't let the majority of senators vote. And certainly they wouldn't want the majority of people to vote because they know they do not represent the majority of the American people. In fact, they represent in their own states a very small minority.
Okay. Okay, so that is from that's a clip of Dr. King. That's from, I think, 1963. And that's on Facebook also, that clip. We'll post a link of it here. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on the filibuster. a minority of misguided senators should no longer be able to weaponize the filibuster against voting rights for Black and brown Americans. So we'll shift gears here. We have this story from thehill.com, an update to a story we talked about early in the week about the, let's go to clip 3. Let's go to clip 3 from CNN about the realtor who was arrested along with his client. Now, Benjamin Crump is going to represent the realtor. Let's go to clip 3 from CNN and Don Lemon. Okay, we'll go to that in just a second.
So imagine touring a home up for sale and being met by police with guns drawn. It happened on Sunday in Michigan to a Black realtor and his Black client, and the client's 15-year-old son, who's seen here on police body cam video being put into handcuffs. All 3 were cuffed. Now, they say if they were white, it wouldn't have happened. Police say a white neighbor called 911 reporting a break-in after seeing the 3 men at the vacant home. This is dash cam video. It shows one of them leaving the house with his hands up. It turns out a different man was arrested at the home a week earlier for unlawful entry. Wyoming, Michigan police saying tonight in a statement, after a thorough internal review of the actions of each of our public safety officers who responded to this incident, we have concluded race played no role in our officers' treatment of the individuals who were briefly detained, and our officers responded appropriately. While it is unfortunate that innocent individuals were placed in handcuffs, our officers responded reasonably and according to department policy based on the information available to them at the time. Well, let's talk about this. Joining me now with their perspective, the prospective home buyer, Roy Thorne, his son Samuel, Eric Brown, the realtor showing the home. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you joining. I'm sorry this happened to you. Let's discuss. Eric, you heard what the police said. What did this feel like for you? Did it feel like profiling, racial profiling?
It did. Honestly, it did. In that moment, it certainly felt that way. It's difficult to justify that type of what I felt a tactical type response. There was a strategy there, and then they were surrounding the home without our knowledge, and we weren't made aware of their presence. So yeah, for sure, it felt. I don't feel like a home that had been on the market for this length of time, with the number of showings, given the climate and activity in our market, that no one else had that type of or level of force or response.
Yeah. Look, Roy, I'm glad you're here and you're healthy now, but you had to be worried that it wouldn't be the case while this was all happening.
Yeah. I was worried. I was very worried initially when it all started. Not knowing that the officers were out there until I saw 2 officers outside the window on the side of the home after Sandy told me that there were cops outside. He was downstairs and he came upstairs where Eric and I were. And once I saw the 2 officers with their guns drawn, and I saw them doing hand signals, signaling each other to surround the house, and I noticed that, and one officer was heading to the back, and that's when I really got paranoid, because I knew once they surrounded the home, they were just preparing for a standoff, and so my instincts told me we need to get out of here, we need to get to where they can see that we're not a threat.
All right, pause it right there. Pause it right there. Okay, so we know they were arrested for a short period of time, about 10 minutes or so. About 10 minutes or so, as the videotape showed, right about that amount of time. Now, update to the story. TheHill.com has an article here from Thursday, August 12th, 2021. Ben Crump representing Black Realtor, prospective buyer handcuffed at home showing. Okay, this is at TheHill.com. And there is a press release here. I went to Ben Crump's. I follow him on Twitter. There's a press release that he released on August 12th. And okay, those watching on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, keep watching. We're going to keep going for a couple more minutes. We'll talk about this press release. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for the online courses I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. And we'll be back Sunday night. Right now, it's correct. Wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. All right. Stand by. All right. Everybody, be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and register for the class I teach on Saturdays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. It's a 10-week online course, and we deal with history from the at the end of the Civil War, Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, Jim Crow era, World War I, World War II, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement. We do the class live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch it over and over again. Click on register here. It takes you to the next page, and just click on enroll at the next page, on the next page. And you can register for the course. It's regularly $130, on sale $80. As soon as you register, you can start watching content. You can watch the class from last week, and we have some bonus content there also. Okay. So just click on enroll. All right. Let's continue here. So looking at the press release from Ben Crump's law firm. This was released Thursday, August 12th. Can I pull this up at all? All right. Nationally, so this is regarding Wyoming, Michigan. Nationally renowned civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump has been retained by Eric Brown and Roy Thorne, two men who were wrongfully detained and handcuffed by the Wyoming Police Department during a house showing. Wyoming police officers swarmed a home and detained and handcuffed Brown, who is a realtor, Eric Brown, his client Thorne, and his 15-year-old son during a showing. And let me see if I think we have, let's see, can we blow this up some more? Let's look at this here. I saved the press release. Let's flip over, try to bring it up this way and zoom in on it. Okay. All right. Okay, let's look at it this way. Okay, so a neighbor called 911 and said that they fit the description of someone who had broken into a home in the neighborhood. Attorney Crump has issued the following statement, quote, "These men and this child are completely traumatized by this incident with the Wyoming Police Department. What should have been a great day for this father and son and another day at work for Eric, the realtor, turned into a day of terror that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. And why? Because of yet another incident of racial profiling. In America, you can't walk while black, drive while black, sleep while black, or even work while black. A black man shouldn't fear for his life every time he goes to work. I won't stop until these men and this child receive the justice they deserve," end quote. Now, according to the reporting from the Heal.com, even though he is representing the realtor and the customer, Roy Thorne, the prospective home buyer, it hasn't been determined yet, and I've looked at different sources for this, it hasn't been determined yet that they're going to file a lawsuit. They are contemplating the lawsuit, but they have retained legal counsel. All right, so check out this article here from theheal.com. Ben Crump representing Black Realtor, prospective buyer, handcuffed at home during showing. And I just want to make sure I got everything I wanted to talk about, all my notes here on this article. Okay, we got that. Now, the police department said, and we talked about this earlier in the week when we discussed this topic, the police department said that They did an investigation. Go down to the bottom of the article here. We'll look at the statement from the police department. The local police department, the Wyoming Police Department, said in an initial statement that the officers were responding to a report from a caller who believed that a suspect who was arrested for a July 24th intrusion on the property had returned to the house. So this incident took place August 1st. There was an intruder in the house July 24th who was arrested. The caller who called 911, who was asked by the homeowner to keep an eye on the house, thought the person who was the intruder on July 24th had returned. And according to the dispatch call, the caller also recognized the car. As I said before, early in the week, did you write down the license plate number? Was it the same license plate number? Apparently, it was not the same car. Maybe it was the same make and model, but it wasn't the same car. These were different people. Now, police added that the three individuals were placed in handcuffs under quote unquote department protocol. On Tuesday, August 10th, the city's Department of Public Safety said that an internal review of the incident showed that, quote, officers responded appropriately, end quote, and, quote, according to department policy based on the information available to them at the time, end quote. The statement went on to say, we have concluded that race played no role in our officers' treatment of the individuals who were briefly detained, end quote, the statement said. All right. So you can read this article in its entirety. We'll see what happens with this case here. Now, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting. We're here 6 days a week, okay? And this helps us stay on the air, finance the show, pay some of the bills, etc. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We rebroadcast these shows throughout the day on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. These shows are also an audio podcast format as well. So wherever you get your audio podcast from, search for the African History Network show. We're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, FM Player, TuneIn. Download the iHeartRadio app, search for the African History Network show, search for the African History Network show. The African History Network show, they have about 300 of our podcasts there. This is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN Show, SHOW. When you go there, it'll show my name, Michael, and it'll show my picture. These other ones are fake African History Network Cash App accounts. That's not us. I've already reported them to Cash App. And at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, you can, when you scroll down the page, it has information for the radio show. Click right here to listen to podcasts. It takes you to our Blog Talk radio show, where we have about 1,000 podcasts there of the show also, going back to 2010. All right. And then you can also register for the online courses I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturday is From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. That's 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do the classes live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch them over and over again. You also have access to the class even after the course is over with. So next year, you can still go back and watch the full course. And then the other class I teach is on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We do thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place as well. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.